So there is a sweeter side to you, she teased in a whisper. Let's keep that a secret just between us. I have a reputation to uphold. He took her by the hand, and they trudged over to where the leftover smell of grilled hamburgers and hot dogs gradually filled the air. All this is making me hungry, he commented after a while. You haven't had supper? I had a sandwich before we left the house to come here. Their conversation stayed clear of the fact that confronting Manderley Blakeney was something they both feared and dreaded, but knew it had to be done. I haven't eaten either, she confessed. They were going to save me a plate for when I got back. Think they'll let me have the scraps? He waggled his eyebrows at her, making her laugh. So you said you were one of 5 girls, and all of you are half witches? Yeah, all of them found their spouses on their birthdays. This past year, in fact. I'm the last one. Don't you find it rather apropos that you would be born on July the 4th, and my power element is fire? Peanut butter and jelly, Amberly smiled. He squeezed her hand in agreement. They rounded the first group of campers. While several sites were already being abandoned now that the fireworks were over, many more sites remained filled as families, most of which were locals, stayed to enjoy the evening. Amberly spotted the micro minibus and tractor in the distance. She could see her sisters and brothers-in-law sitting around a small fire pit. But as she and Matt drew nearer, she could tell they had ceased their conversation and were getting to their feet. Is that them? Matt asked, looking ahead. Yeah. Getting closer, she immediately spotted the looks of consternation on her sisters' faces and the puzzled expressions on the menfolk, and the dark cloud gathering strength on her father's face as he stepped in front of them. Amberly. The sound of her father's voice saying her full name was something she'd rarely heard growing up, but she had never heard it spoken with the echo of angry thunder in the background. Daddy, this is... I don't give a damn who he is. He's not welcome here. The words were spoken with finality and a threat, but Amberly knew she had the right, no matter what the consequences. Matt is my heart's call, Daddy. He is a warlock. Mr. Blakeney, if I may speak, Matt began, only to be cut off with a growl of thunder overhead. Amberly glanced upward, and for the first time, she wondered whose power could be the stronger. Although her abilities were no match, having half the power of what a regular witch would have, both her father and Matt were full-blooded. Granted that her father had more experience, but Matt was younger and more agile. Daddy, let's settle this now, because one way or another, I'm not leaving him. Manderley Blakeney looked at her with hooded eyes. He didn't seem surprised by her statement. And I'm not leaving without her, Matt added. Neither she nor Matt were prepared for the charge of white light that suddenly burst from her father's hands and struck Matt full force in the middle of his chest.